3. So when you get to the carpet, you are looking for a book, a packet, some form of writing. If you are watching this lesson back on the video, please pause the video right now. Take this time to head to the carpet and choose something to browse. You will have 2 minutes to browse. You can start that now. Boys, if you're just coming in, come to the carpet. You're going to start browsing. Any of the words, the writing, everybody who's here should be on the carpet. You're going to be browsing any of the writing on the floor. On the floor, please. Come on over, Luce. There's a bunch of stuff over here, too, you can grab. See here, thanks for coming over. Nice job. I'm proud of you. So right now we are just browsing. If you finish browsing one, pass it over to your neighbor. See if you can swap a little bit. What? What book? I'm probably not going to read your Pokemon book. Probably not. Give 20 more seconds. I will be saying hands up top at the end of these 20 seconds. Hands up top. A lot of people in the middle did it. Hands up top. When I say go, I'm going to ask that you put whatever you're reading on the floor in front of you and keep your hands off of it for now. Ready position when you're done. Go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Class, class. Class, class. If you're still talking, I'm assuming it's like a life or death conversation that's going on. Thank you. Okay, I'm moving on. So every single item that was on the floor is a nonfiction text. This says books, but we're going text. Some of you had a textbook. Some of you had books from our classroom library. Some of you had recipes. Somebody had a letter I got about jury duty. Somebody had a bill that I got in the mail. Somebody had a phone book. There's a recycling guide. There were recipes. I had that one for dinner last night. That was delicious. There was a magazine. There was an atlas, a dictionary. Class, class. Class, class. Here, could you ignore them? They're trying to throw us off, and I don't want them to be successful at that. So, all of these were informational texts. We are doing reading first, by the way, because I want you to end the day working on your books, so you'll get the rest of class after reading to work on that. Class, class. But if this takes longer, then you don't get to the books. So we are starting our unit on nonfiction texts. That could be any of these items. We're going to be pulling nonfiction books in class to be reading. So nonfiction, it's real books or texts that tell us something, they inform us about something, they teach us something, or they explain something. For example, those recipes, they were explaining to me how to cook my dinner. A phone book is telling me what number to call for certain places. The dictionary is explaining the definition of different words. Some of these books are teaching you. I see one about frogs that's teaching you all about frogs. So they all have a purpose. And they all have some special characteristics. So I'm going to do a little bit of talking. I've got 4 slides. Stay with me. And then we're going to talk about how do these characteristics fit the book that we just looked through. So a nonfiction text. How is it different from fiction? So there could be chapter titles, section headers that preview, hands down. Every page has words in a variety of fonts and sizes. Like if you notice, it's not like some of our chapter books. A lot of them have different headings and different fonts and colors and styles. There could be bold or italic fonts that are used to signal important words or phrases. There could be diacritical marks, which those tell us how do you pronounce this word. We see that in the dictionary. How are the graphic aids used? Those are the pictures, the diagrams. There could be maps, charts, diagrams, photographs to illustrate or to summarize something. Like for me, when I'm cooking one of those recipes, I know I'm on track at the end if my meal matches the picture on the recipe card. If my meal doesn't match, I did something pretty wrong, and it's probably not going to taste very good. Captions and labels are used to examine carefully because they have relevant information in them. Most of our chapter books don't really have captions in them explaining photographs. The vocabulary in nonfiction text is different. There could be more words that are unfamiliar. When I read some of these, I'm not totally understanding what all the words are. It's nonfiction, so there may be some bigger words in there. They could be multisyllabic, like photosynthesis. Have we heard that one before? Yes. They could be a little harder to pronounce than the books that we're reading, than like the chapter books and the story books. That last one here. What do we know about nonfiction? There's a great deal of information to be understood and to be remembered. So in nonfiction, it's not telling you a story to enjoy. It is teaching you something or telling you how to do something. Throughout this unit, you're going to hear different words that all mean the same thing. I might call it nonfiction. Say that with me. Nonfiction. I might call it informational. Say that with me. Informational. I may call it expository. Say that with me. Expository. That means it's exposing information. All of those words mean the same genre. Nonfiction, informational, expository. So the last piece of this, today what I want us to do, because this is just an introduction to information. What I want to know, first, those slides had a lot of information on it, and some of them you're probably thinking, what did Miss Fonan just say? Thank you for staying with me. There are only 2 people talking, and the rest of us are ignoring that. I appreciate that. But those text characteristics of nonfiction, what those are used for is to help us understand how these books are different. Thank you guys for ignoring. I know it's really hard. Those are used to help us understand how and why nonfiction is different. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and I'm going to ask for some sharing, which is why there's a person with their hand up. I want to know your experience with nonfiction text. What I'm interested in knowing is what books about real people, places, or events have you read before? So have you read any books about real people, real places, real events? Turn and talk with your neighbor. And say what? And if knows the answer, knows the answer. Yeah, top drawer of my desk. They're in a bag. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Class, class? Class, class?
Yes.
Could I ask that everybody turns this way? I want to make sure our backs are to the distraction. So what books have you read about real people, places, or events? Colin?
You're calling me
I asked a question.